Yes, that is the West Coast Eagles theme song for now. Anyway, there is some suggestion it might be changed at some point. They play a big game against North Melbourne at Hands Oval in Bunbury on Saturday. Maybe it's a dress rehearsal for round one. Maybe it's not, but we'll get to that with Gavin Bell, their footy manager, who joins us on the show now. Gavin, welcome.
Good morning, Duff.
How are you, mate? How's the build-up to the start of the season?
Yeah, no, it's we've had a really good off-season, mate, and we're excited about what lays ahead in the next couple of weeks and really looking forward to getting underway this week against North and then preparations into round one. So, yeah, no, there's a great feeling amongst the group and we're excited about getting going, mate.
A couple of questions have come through on Campbell Chesser from two of our loyal listeners, Graham and Lisa. Just wondering, how is he going? According to Graham, he's been in and out of training most of the pre-season, sat out the intra-club on Saturday. Lisa suggesting he may have had an ankle operation. How's Campbell tracking?
Yeah, no, Lisa's on the money there, Duff. He had a small procedure done late yesterday afternoon, and it's really to try to get him to get back and get as much footy in as he can this season. So it's something, it was only a minor procedure, but we just needed to give him the best chance to have a clean run. He'd sort of been coming in and out of training, and to set him up to play as much footy as he can this year, the decision was made over the weekend to get him in and just to give a bit of a clean and go from there. So
when do you expect him back and ready to play, Gav?
Again, probably because of last night's surgery, Duff, I haven't had any medical yet. We've got a medical meeting this afternoon, and we'll be able to provide an update on all of our players probably this afternoon or tomorrow, mate, with all the information that comes through from the surgeons and so on.
And you mentioned that it was a clean-up. You're confident it wasn't anything major?
Sorry, not so much a clean-up, just a minor procedure, precautionary to give him the best chance to have a good backup or good season, mate, once he starts playing. So, yeah, sorry, I shouldn't have said clean-up. They went in, they did a minor procedure just to give him the best chance to get some continuity in his footy.
Ruben Ginbey, you finally got the answer from the MRO yesterday that he will be eligible for round one. There's no action to take out of the, the push that sent Sam Lawler into the back of Sandy Brock. Why did that take so long? And is it acceptable, do you think, that it takes that long for you to get an answer on whether a player is going to be available for you a week after the incident has actually occurred?
I think given the nature of the scrimmage process that's occurring in the staggered fixtures, I mean, it's not ideal, that's for sure, once we are aware that Ruben had been cited and needed to go through that process. Obviously we put our thoughts out towards young Layla from Richmond and making sure that he's okay, and some of our staff touched base there, and Ruben himself actually contacted the kid as well, just to make sure he was going all right. So, look, is it ideal? No, but it's a very unique situation with the way that they'd set this up. So, we're pleased to have Ruben available for the next couple of weeks or next couple of games, and he's ready to go. He's had a great summer. Our role really over that period of time was just to support Ruben and keep communicating with him as we found out different pieces of information.
It was a bit of a head scratcher for me. I mean, I looked at it. I thought it was marginal. I thought if it's the sort of thing that happens once, you probably view it as an accident. If it's something that he does sort of habitually, then obviously it becomes a pattern and something needs to be done. But to me, 2.5 minutes to look at the footage and you're able to come up with an outcome. And because it's marginal, it probably wasn't going to cause any great outrage either way. Just look at the footage, form a view, and then let the player and the club and the supporters know what the position is. I didn't see any reason for it to take a week, but that's just me. He's playing as a third tall defender. There were some good signs in your inter-club on the weekend. How's he been going generally?
Yeah, he's a fantastic athlete, Ruben, and a real competitor. So we've been really pleased with what he's been able to do down back. He's played most of his time in the AFL as a midfielder. He sort of moved down back a bit more last year, and we're really liking the progress that Ruben's making. Like I said, he's quick. He's got huge fitness space. He's strong and he's powerful, and he's a real competitor. So he ticks a lot of boxes for what we need down back, and we're excited about where Ruben's at after a really strong pre-season.
How do you treat the game against North Melbourne at Hands Oval on Saturday, Gavin? Is it basically a dress rehearsal for round one, or with opening round, is it a little bit soon for that?
No, for us, it's an opportunity to keep building on our chemistry within the playing group, within the new coaching staff, and our staff across the board. So how we continue to be best prepared for round one, that's the focus. We'll put in a strong team. We're looking to build that chemistry, as I mentioned, Duff. So we'll pick a strong team without compromising anything for round one. So, round one is the real focus and the start of the footy season. This is an opportunity for us to keep getting better and improve how we operate on game day, both on the field and off the field.
So if we look at your team that takes the field against North Melbourne, is it reasonable to assume this is what Andrew McWalter thinks your best team looks like at this stage? Now, I know that could change based on performances on Saturday, but would you be looking at best available come Saturday?
Yeah, I think that'll be the general philosophy, Duff. But again, as I mentioned, it won't be at the compromise of anything for the start of the season. So if someone we view is in our best 22 or in our best 23, and they're not quite ready for that game, then we won't just roll them out for the sake of it. We've been doing a lot of work on the way Andrew wants us to play, the game style. We're seeing some good improvement over the summer, and a lot of learning and a lot of education has been done in that space. So we understand we've got a lot of work to do. So we're just really focused on starting the season learning what Andrew wants the players to do, and as I mentioned, those of us off the field, making sure that we're really clear on our roles and getting that done as best we can.
Now, I know that probably formal team selection definitely won't have happened yet, but do we expect Harley Reed to play this weekend? And if he does play, what sort of game time do you expect him to play?
Yeah, we'd expect Harley to be playing this weekend. He played near on 3/4 on the weekend, so I'd suggest there's probably a progression in build. We haven't sat down and mapped out any of the minutes or, like you said, finalised the team. But Harley played well, showed some good things on our intra-club in front of the fans on Saturday. So, we'll keep stepping forward in preparation for the start.
I guess the other question that happens when a player like Harley, who's had an interrupted pre-season, steps out and plays, how did he pull up? Did he get through it okay, and has he pulled up without any ill effects?
No, he was all fine. I spoke to him yesterday. We understand he's into his second pre-season and coming into his second year of AFL football. So he'll be constantly managed, as all our young guys will be, to make sure we give them the best chance to play the season, Duff. So the management of our younger players, of some of our older players, and those with some compromises through their body is an ongoing thing that happens throughout the footy season. Just
quickly, I know sort of 10 or 15 years ago, a first-year draftee might do 50 to 60% of the program through the pre-season, and then that would increase to about 75% second year before they become full-time trainers in their third year. Does that still happen, or do you manage them differently now?
Yeah, it certainly still happens. Probably not just necessarily cut off at 60%. I mean, you're right, that's what it was. It's based on an individual program and an individual profile. Some guys are more advanced than others in terms of their physical development and where they've been playing and the work that they've done in the past. But I think it's worth noting that the transition into the AFL system is really difficult. It's a real challenge whether you're 18 or 21. It's becoming a full-time athlete. It's a new set of training programs. The demands of the game are really high. So how we transition guys in is just as important as how we transition our players out. So their loads are closely managed. Their programs are individualised to make sure we give them the best chance to build a career.
Does West Coast as a club have a view on the draft age? Gavin, you might have heard me talk yesterday about we've got a situation now where the number 3 pick in the draft, Jagger Smith, has done a knee first time out for Carlton. Now, I know knees can be done in a variety of ways, but Jagger does look like a bloke who needs another year in the gym. And obviously Sam Lawler, unable to hold his ground on the run against Ruben, cannons into the back of Sandy Brock after Ruben pushes him. So we've got the number 1 pick and the number 3 pick injured and significant injuries before the start of the season. Does West Coast have a view on whether the draft age is right or whether it's too young? What's the position?
No, we haven't sat down and formalised what our overall beliefs are with the draft age, Duff. But I'd probably double down on what I said earlier. That the transition into the AFL is difficult, and the game demands and the programs demand a lot of new players. So you're right, injuries do happen, but I think it's not as straightforward as just upping the draft age. I think that there's everything through academies, squad sizes, the list management part that goes with that, where your club is at in terms of its build and so on. So there's a lot of pieces to it that affect and impact a young player's ability to come into the system and thrive from day one. And I guess the mindset around the pressure and the expectations that are put on these first-year players. We saw it and we lived it heavily with Harley Reed, and he was physically ready in many ways. Maybe not from an endurance point of view, but he was ready to compete against men in one of the most demanding games one of the most demanding games in the world. So, he's a rare beast. There's not too many guys that have come in from round one and just started playing and being able to perform through that. So how we manage them, how we look after them, but also how they are transitioned in and the preparation that's done before that transition, they're all factors within it, Duff.
Quick question from David. Is Tom Gross injured? And also, will you try to replace Dom Sheed again now the SSP deadline has been extended?
So Tommy Gross had a minor calf, and I guess this is an example of what I'm talking about with the way we'd approach a younger player too. So we could have really tried to speed up his rehab and his recovery process and push him out to play last week. But our mindset is it's a young player, the demands are high, so let's take our time and get this right. We'll have training today, he'll get out there running around and moving today, and we'll know more this afternoon. But we're hoping to see him in some action this weekend, whether it's with our waffle or with our AFL program. More likely our waffle if he's available to go. So just being cautious with our, not cautious, but not being reckless with our decision making with our young guys, making sure that we're really considerate about what's the best thing for him. The other player, sorry, who did you mention, Duff?
Just David wanted to know, will you use what the AFL looks like they might extend the SSP deadline to replace Dom Sheed?
Our position is that we're going to stay with an open position through to the mid-season draft, and that gives us the best chance to assess the talent at the start of the season, 8, 9, 10 state league games in, and we can really look to select the best player available. We've had good success the last 2 mid-season drafts by picking up Jack Hutchison and Ryan Marrick. So that ability for us to sort of track the players that will pop out of the system over the start of the state league is going to be really important for us to select the best available player at that time.
Gavin, I know you've got a commitment you've got to get to. Thanks so much for your time this morning, and look forward to more conversations with you as the season goes on.
Thanks very much, Duff. Have a good day.
Gavin Bell, the football manager from the West Coast Eagles. We'll be back and we'll come back with 4 thoughts on footy in general after the break.